Am I the jerk for firing an employee after his parents became unalive? I'm the VP of sales at a software company, and one of our sales development reps' parents passed away at the beginning of April. Sadly, they were involved in a car crash and both lost their lives. Now the employee in question is a very young 22-year-old guy and has been with us for about 10 months now. He's a great employee and we were thinking about promotions in the next 6 months for him. His job is a high-paying one for a new grad, about $90K with commission and base, so we expect a lot from this position. Because of the accident, we let him take a 1-month paid leave of absence from work, and he's returned a few weeks ago and his performance is severely lacking. He's super unmotivated, not cold calling, outreaching to prospects for the last 2-3 weeks enough since he's come back. Our whole management team has noticed this and we decided to let him go because we feel like he'd need months and months to be able to produce again, and we can't just wait that long. We called him into a meeting on Friday afternoon and gave him the bad news. He was very calm and rude about it, told us to go F ourselves, and got up and went to his desk, grabbed his few things and left. I thought this was very unprofessional and extremely rude. I told my boyfriend about all of this and he said myself and my management team are a bunch of jerks and pricks with no hearts. Am I the jerk? Update. Holy F, this blew up. I know this was crappy of me now. And I reached out to him to see how he's holding up. He's staying at his GF's place and she's supporting him a lot right now. I offered to get my headhunter friend in touch with him when he's ready and he accepted. You're the jerk for firing him without first going through the steps of describing his issues to him and giving him a chance to improve. He's been back for only 2-3 weeks. It's not about having a heart, it's about making a dumb business decision for both you and him. So much smarter to work with this guy to get him back on track after a temporary setback than to push the eject button and have to find and start over with a new person. Dumb. You're the jerk. Without a doubt. You gave him 2-3 weeks after he came back before you fired him? That's not enough time to start underperforming and be fired for someone who didn't experience such a tragedy. If you really cared or were a decent company, you'd find him a mentor, maybe start pulling him aside and coaching him, find ways to bring up the problems but making it work for you both for at least a couple months. Wow. Am I the jerk for sharing information about my ex's health with a new partner? My ex and I met at work and had an accidental pregnancy which she subsequently terminated. I was not there for her at first, which has filled me with a lot of guilt. I have tried to stay friends but we do still argue about my lack of being there. She has definitely struggled with her mental health since the procedure. With that I have felt guiltier. She has told me she wants to keep the termination private and asked me to at the very least not share her name, preferably to not talk about it at all. I recently started dating someone and did tell her about the situation, and her name. I also shared some texts with that person that showed some of my ex's mental health struggle. I have also told a few friends who have deduced that it was her. These are all people within our workplace, so they do know her. She has since found out I shared this information and is extremely upset with me, saying I shouldn't have told anyone and respected her privacy. I feel that these are people close to me and my partner at least has the right to know, especially since my ex and I are friends but do argue about the situation and my initial lack of involvement, which upsets me. Am I the jerk here? You're the jerk. You said she was struggling with her mental health due to the termination of her pregnancy. She asked you not to share the information with anyone so people at work don't know her personal life. You disclosed her name and showed private text messages. People have strong opinions about abortion on both sides of the spectrum. You don't respect her or care about her mental well-being. Morally, you're a huge jerk. Edit. Hold on a second, you're in the medical field and didn't think twice about sharing your ex's personal history? And she's in medical school at your hospital. Do you know how fast that gossip spreads? Especially if she got pregnant by a superior? You're the jerk. It's bad enough you couldn't respect her wishes, but you also made it incredibly awkward for her in the workplace. You say that you're still friends with her? Do you have such little care for all your friends? I don't even understand how you could do this to someone you think of as a friend. Am I the jerk? I didn't attend my son's wedding. I instead spent the evening with his ex-wife. Quick backstory. After graduating high school, my son moved 3 states away for college. At 19 he married a girl he met. I tried convincing him to wait because I personally felt he was too immature. They both dropped out and moved back here to his hometown. At 20 they had their first child, a beautiful little girl. 16 months later, my deal gave birth to their second child, a little boy. After the first baby, my wife and I noticed our deal wasn't happy. We both thought it was PPD related. Just after the second arrived, my son and his wife separated. She would bring the kids over for a visit. It was then she began unloading on us. I know there's two sides to every story, but considering I know my son, I believed her. I sat my son down numerous times to speak with him regarding his marriage. He refused to take responsibility, blamed her for everything even when I directly pointed out where he was the sole problem. They got into counseling. For a year things were a-okay on the surface. Our deal filed for divorce. My son 3 days later was on Facebook announcing his new girlfriend. A month later, they were engaged. My son had forced his then wife to become a permanent Psalm at the birth of their first child. She of course had no other family or friends here. She knew no one aside from us. She had nowhere to go with 2 small children. Unbeknownst to our son, my wife and I helped her financially and got her an apartment. Before the divorce was even finalized, we received a wedding invitation. I made it clear to my son I would not be attending and they would not have my blessing. His mother told him she would see to it that I would attend. I stayed consistent in my decision. I also asked him not to bring his fiancée Tilda copywritey around our house out of respect for the mother of his children. The wedding happened on February 11th. The night before, my wife gave me the finial push. I did not attend. Our daughter also did not attend for the same reasons. My wife picked up our grandkids, got them dressed and attended the wedding. My daughter and I decided to spend the evening with his ex. I couldn't imagine her sitting alone, while her kids attended their father's wedding. She was taken aback that I didn't end up attending his wedding. We took her out to distract her mind. I just wanted her to know, she'll always be considered family to us. My daughter also made a joke they can drop the in-law status and just be sisters now. She was very tearfully grateful. I realized just how badly she needed our support and specifically on that night. The next morning, my son called to tell me how much of a horrible father I am for not attending his wedding. Few days later he caught wind that I spent the wedding evening with his ex. He said that was the ultimate form of betrayal, and further myself and his sister would have to earn a relationship with him on his terms only. Not the jerk. It sounds like you're a reasonable parent who acknowledges when your kid is being an idiot. I don't see anything wrong with you choosing to support the mother of your grandchildren, who he seems to have left in a bad spot. Not the jerk. He wanted a trophy wife, immediately got into a relationship with another woman when he got divorced, and tried to manipulate both you and her. Unlike some comments that will undoubtedly come, the relationship you have with your ex-daughter-in-law is yours, not dependent on him. Good for you for helping her out through this difficult time and for standing against the jerk son. Update from OP. Edited to add, first, I'd like to sincerely thank each and every one of you for your support, encouragement, and all the awards. I know without a doubt, I did the right thing. I even feel differently now. His mother should not have attended either. But we can't go back and undo that. So, my son saw the post. I had sent my daughter the link yesterday so she could read the comments. This morning she texted me at work, "Dad, you went viral. LOL. But anyways, he sent screenshots of the post and all my comments to his mum. He also told her, he's dead to me now. Time will tell if he means that. I'm sure he'll see this update too. For that reason, I'm positively certain the second he needs another cash loan I won't be dead anymore." His mum told him, "Your children have to be our #1 priority. They're not just some disposable items you can leave behind when one chapter of your life closes. Maybe one day, he'll understand this." Am I the jerk for cancelling the entire trip after finding out that my husband hid my daughter's passport? My husband and I have been together for 3 years. He has 3 kids from his previous relationship and I have 1. She's the oldest, 17. He's a dedicated man, puts God first and loves everyone. My husband always complains that my daughter doesn't spend time with her step-siblings or him, but she has reasons for that, and that is school, health issues and work. She does her best to spend as much time with them as she can. But she on the other hand complains that her stepdad tells her to basically take on the role of a babysitter whenever she's with her step-siblings. My husband denied that and said that my daughter was making up excuses to not have to spend time with his kids. For this issue, I figured that a family trip is what the family need to get together and spend more time around each other's. My husband liked the idea but said that his kids are now uncomfortable around my daughter because of her attitude and suggested we let her stay home and have the house all to herself since that's what she always wanted. I told him it's best that we all go. He kept complaining till I snapped and told him to stop. I booked, paid, for the whole family. However, my daughter told me she couldn't find her passport. We turned the house upside down looking for it but couldn't find it. My husband said maybe it was a sign from God that we should let her stay home so the trip wouldn't turn into a disaster. I ignored his comment, but later while I was cleaning his office I found the passport, tucked away in the third drawer under a ton of papers. I was floored by this. I confronted him with it and he swore he had no idea why or how the passport got there. I checked the upstairs camera and saw him enter my daughter's room. That was it for me. I screamed my head off at him, then cancelled the whole trip completely. He started arguing, saying I overreacted and that he didn't want his kids to be miserable on the trip, and that willing to apologize to my daughter if and when I reconsider my decision regarding the cancellation of the trip, because my stepkids will be devastated. But I said it was final and that it was done. He became cold and distant and said that he wants to take some time to do some fasting and get guidance from God about how he should deal with the disrespect and control I had displayed lately. Am I the jerk for cancelling it altogether? Not the jerk. He can't use your daughter as free childcare for his children. So he intentionally alienates her from his family. And yes, I said his family because it is very apparent he does not consider your family his family. Let's see what he's done just in your post alone. Your almost adult daughter has valid reasons why she cannot spend more time, as he wants, with the step-siblings. He does not think her needs are equal or even important. Your husband orders her to babysit. She is not now nor will ever be his beck-and-call servant. You wanted, booked and paid for yourself, a family vacation. He does not see her as family, since he made excuses and complained that she could not go against your wishes. He does not think she deserves to go on the family vacation because he clearly does not see her as his family. When he could not manipulate you into what he wanted, he forced the issue himself. Then allowed you to death through the house, causing you and your daughter stress while knowing 100% what he did caused this. And had no problem with that. He used God's will as the excuse for something he intentionally did. Does he think he's a conduit for God or God himself? Narcissistic much? He lied about what he did, and when you called him out, he still continued to lie to you. And when you had proof and he ran out of valid lies, he twisted it all around saying that you are the one overreacting. When he still couldn't lie, argue, or manipulate what he wanted from you, he then turned to giving you the cold shoulder as a form of punishment to you. Oh, you've hurt my little feelings. You must adjust your ways to make me feel better. Even though this is all my fault and my own doing, but I cannot be held responsible for that. Your husband wants to control you, what you do and what you want. Your husband wants to control your daughter, what she should be spending her time on, and forcing her to do things she cannot do. When he cannot easily do that, he uses manipulation and lying in order to accomplish it. When he is then held responsible for his actions, he turns it around on you. When that doesn't work, he throws a temper tantrum. He did not marry you because he wanted a wife and stepdaughter. He was looking for two females to boss around and do his bidding. In God's name, Amen.